And we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another issue of Just in Case. Hosting today's show, Broken, Not Shattered. Awesome. We'll be back in about 30 seconds to start our full presentation. Sit back and sit tight. Good evening. This is another Sunday evening. Today is the last Sunday of the month of January. Wow. Obi, man, time has gone
Yeah,
by so fast. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
time
This is,
flies.
yes, it sure does. This is your host, Ike Webili, and my co host, Obi, who is actually in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm out here in Washington, D.C. Welcome to our third or fourth episode for this year of Broken Not Shattered. I got a few phone calls during the week. People were asking me what is Broken all about. Well, the truth of the matter, in a very simple way, Broken is a platform where we come to um, discuss brokenness in several different ways, and at the end of the day, trusting that God, the Almighty Healer and Restorer, will heal and restore. It's a platform for the hope of to give hope to the hopeless, and in so many ways to give an encouragement to those who need encouragement, and also to share love and the kindness that only the love and kindness that only can come from our Father in heaven and His Son Jesus Christ. That's the core of this platform, and based on our personal experiences, we've had people on the show who have shared so many different experiences, and we're expecting that a lot more will be shared in the seasons coming up. In the month of February, Obi, we're gonna have a lot of guests coming in, so we're looking forward to sharing this platform with guests, um, um, regular folks like you and I, people who have strong spiritual backgrounds, people who are in the fields, people who have gone through experiences of their own, and then we're expecting them to all come on board and just share this great platform. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Yeah, you look good. You look
It's
good.
nice seeing you another weekend.
Yeah, another weekend. So we're back to again to discuss gracefully broken, and today we're going to look at setbacks. Um, how important are the setbacks that we face in life, and in some ways, how do those setbacks end up being things that catapult us, for lack of a better word, into our purpose and our destiny. If you look throughout life itself, you will see that a lot of people have gone through some tremendous setbacks. I was talking to someone recently, and it was the pain and the the brokenness that they went through that helped catapult them into their business, and today it has turned into a multi-dollar industry. um, you see these things happen every day, and you're wondering, if I hadn't gone through that adversity, if I hadn't gone through that setback, um, where would I be today? And we just want to encourage people who might be listening to us now and those who will listen to us later on, that no matter what you go through in life, no matter what you go through in life, I tell folks all the time, a living dog is greater than a dead lion. Remember that
Sure.
one. What's up, Bobby?
All
Talk to
right.
me, buddy.
It's a good one. Um, um, how I see this is hunger most times brings out the best in you. While I was ruminating on this topic for tonight, I remembered Staycation and Obon King. He's championing on um, individual development. He will always say hunger is a very good one. The hunger drives you to think and brings out the best in you. Now, the issue of um, brokenness and disappointment repositioning us, I see it sometimes as um, Moses with the burning bush. Now, the burning bush was never the message, but the burning bush was the attraction for the message. Now, so that brokenness or that setback or that disappointment might never be the message, but it's the attraction to give you the message. I'll give you a case in point. Back days in school, the first course I had was soil science and microbiology, and um, I felt the honest truth is this: if I had graduated at that time, I wouldn't have known what the world looked like, and probably I wouldn't have been the best. Um, but as at the time, I failed and then came back again, and then I was readmitted into another department. That was when I got the message, and I said to myself, the course I am studying might not be the message, but it might be the attraction to get the message. And today I'm seeing it clearly. Funny enough, I'm not doing anything related or related to the course I did back then in school, but I get the clear pictures of what it is. So, like, I will always tell people, it might just be the attraction to give you the message. So, when you have that setback, just relax. Don't kill yourself over it. Give it a thought. The one good thing about that is, at that moment of setback, it gives you room to look inward, um, think about your strength and your weakness, and how you can leverage even your weakness to get something out of your life. So it is never something wrong. It is never an omen to have setback. It is never a crime to face disappointment or brokenness or setback. But always have a positive mind to it. That this setback is not just a setback, but it is an opportunity to reposition you for something good. So that's how I see it. So basically, that's what it is.
Awesome. Wow. Sorry, man. I had some technical difficulties on my side, and I
I
went off a
understand.
bit, but I could see that you were able to hold down the fort. Um, I'm in a different location today. Good job, man. Good job. Uh, we have a question. Someone asked a question. Let me see
Okay.
if I can get let me see if I can get that question and find out how we can be of service to this individual. All right, I can't see the question anymore. I just saw a question. Oh, there you go. There you go. The question was, what is our understanding of a setback? There you go. What's your understanding of a setback?
Okay.
What's your understanding of a setback, Gobi? What does it
Okay.
mean
Like
to
I
you?
will,
Mhm.
for me, I've always approached it with a positive perspective. I've always given it a positive approach. A setback for me is a repositioning, not a setback.
Okay, but you see, it's
It
easy for
is
you to
a
say that
repositioning.
you've given. No, I hear what you're saying. It's easy for you to say that you're giving it a positive approach, which is the right mindset anyway. That's what I tell
Okay.
people. But when you're actually going through it, when you're actually going through that setback, when you're actually going through that state of let's just let's just go. let's
Okay,
be 100 here. Let's just say you're the place of financially broke.
okay, sorry. Let me help you. Let's create a
Okay.
background for people who might be thinking or just saying something
Hmm.
different, maybe based on how we understand it. Yeah. So setback, it's simply mm, behind time or behind your what do you call it, target line.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Hmm.
more like you're starting over, more like a delay. Okay.
Hmm.
But come to think of it, these are ideologies that we created for ourselves that drives us to, you know, do what obviously we should not do. It pushes some people into some social vices and sometimes things out of the, you know,
The pressure.
uh, exactly. These are these are
Pressure.
these are the things these are pressures we created for ourselves. It makes us look as if we are in competition with some persons.
Yeah.
Now look at this. Forgive me.
Everybody has their own race to run. I
Yeah,
say that,
forgive me.
the day I came out
Do
with
you
what
know
the day.
what? Yeah. Do you know why? Do you know why I said these are individual ideologies we created for ourselves, and I tried to give it a positive approach. Now look at this. When I faced that setback some time ago, I tried to talk to myself, and this was how I advised myself. I said, we call ourselves mates, right?
Mhm.
In a classroom where we have 20 students, and we define ourselves as mates. But in the actual sense, we are not mates. So in a class where you have 20 persons, there are 20 persons of different age category. You might have 20, 21, 18, 19, just like that. But yet, that environment has created what we call mate for ourselves. And now, leaving that to the next level, possibly not everyone will graduate to live to the next level. And guess what? When you enter the next level, for instance, you were to graduate and enter into high school, and you missed the first year, and you're able to make it the second year. You see, you have another group of persons you begin to call mates,
Okay.
and you begin to put yourself and you begin to measure yourself with their speed. Are you getting what I'm saying? But in the
Right.
actual sense, we just need to, have a goal for ourselves and work towards it. There's something my father used to say while he was alive. He said, in life, make sure there is movement. You can choose to walk slow, choose to crawl, choose to run, whichever way you know you can. Always make sure you're moving. One day you will look back and you see you've crossed the line. You're not into
Wow.
competition with anybody.
That's a very deep one. Make sure that you're always moving. Yeah, as long as you're moving, you're good to go. One of our listeners says a setback is an unfulfilled dream. This is Ellie from London, England. It's your potential or your goals that have been unfulfilled. A setback. This is Chisel from uh, here in the United States,
Yeah.
Maryland. A setback is a loss in progression. Oh wow!
Progress. Yes.
Oh yeah, I like
Nice.
that. Yeah. Okay. So, but does it mean that when you go through a setback, it's all over? It doesn't mean that.
Never.
It doesn't
Never.
mean that because
Never.
because you know the the progression that you're moving on is the timeline you gave yourself.
Exactly.
But first, we are spirits before we're human, right?
Okay.
And so everyone that
Yes.
comes into this matrix called the Earth or the world or the universe, right,
Yes.
has has a purpose, a plan, and an assignment.
Exactly.
So where we are formed most of the time by our environment.
Okay.
Our environment,
Agreed.
to a great extent, creates who we are. There's a lot of formation that takes place in in both spiritually, naturally, psychologically. The whole being basically is an impact of your environment. Some people
Yeah.
have a better head start because they're in a different part of the world. Others have another kind of head start because they're in a different part of the same world, right? But at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
day, everybody has an assignment. So if you are thinking that you're running with that progression, like you just said, or like one of our listeners said, um, then what happens when it's not God's divine appointment for you to be there at a certain time in life? I look at all the great men that I know. Every single one of them has had some heavy level of adversity. What the
Yes.
world will see and say, "Oh my God, forget it. This person is finished. He has gone." Yeah, but it's never over until God says it's over. That's my belief, right?
Okay.
And so you might
Yeah.
have setbacks, you might have challenges. It might appear to be an unfulfilled dream, but it might not be your purpose or your vision in life. It might not be your primary assignment because all of us believe that our assignments has to be mega,
Okay.
right? I have another one. Just someone
Okay.
just something else.
Yeah.
This is,
Kiruka.
Giruka Merna. She says what she goes and said. Setbacks can also be seen in a positive light.
I
She's
agree with
aligning with
that.
you, Obi. It allows us to
Yes.
return to our original state of motivation and
Yes.
hard work that now leads us to
Yes.
success in the first place. There you go. So,
Yes.
in other words,
Yes.
your setback can be your setup.
Exactly.
Yeah, your setback can actually turn out to be a setup for you. It's just like
Yeah.
working out when you go to the gym, right? And I know you don't go to the gym, but that's fine. It's not personal. Okay, those of
Again.
us.
I don't go to the gym again. Again. Don't worry.
But
I
yeah,
get that job.
so someone like me, I've always liked to be from a very young age back in university days. Always like to go to
Yes.
do a lot of working out, right? And I still do it up to tomorrow morning. And I find out that when you work out initially, it's always a challenge lifting those weights when you've been away from
Sure.
it for a long time. But the more
Yeah.
you keep on pumping those muscles, the resistance begins to build the muscles. And then the
Yeah.
weights that you thought at one time you could not pick up, do you understand? You're snatching it off. Do you understand? You're doing a bench press of about 150 pounds easy because your body has now been conditioned to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I see setbacks sometimes. That those setbacks are like a catapult. They pull you back. Just
Yeah.
like one of our audience just said from London, that it's an unfulfilled dream, potential, or goal. It might be unfulfilled at that time, so it pulls
Yeah.
you back. But eventually,
Yeah.
if it's in God's hands and He releases it, automatically you're catapulted to the next level
Sure, I agree with
if
you.
you believe. And I'm going to hold that thought as we come back. Hope you hold your thought. Just going to take a short
Okay.
break. And I'm glad that we're having a lot of interaction with people getting involved in this conversation. This is what it's all about, really. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back in a few minutes. We're just going to take a quick break and we'll be back to continue where we stopped. Welcome back to Broken Not
Thank you.
Shattered. Your host Ike and my co-host Obi, who is in Lagos, Nigeria. I am out here in the Washington D.C. area. So what's up, buddy? Talk to me now. In this brokenness that one goes through,
Okay.
I've been through a lot, right? I know you have too. Do you think that when you're in that pit, you can actually see the light? Because I believe there's someone out there right now listening to us, and they might not be listening to us now, but they eventually will come on and come across this recording. You are in a pit and you're wondering, I'm done, I'm finished, I can't see the light. But I'm telling
Okay.
you, just hang on and hold on tight. Before you know it, after darkness, there is always light. Personal experience. I want to speak to someone who's out there right now. I don't know who you are, but I'm speaking to you directly. I declare that the darkness that has overcrowded you for so long, begin to move away. Begin to
Yep.
move away so you can see that there is light after
Light.
this darkness you're going through. Just hold on, never give up. People that actually take their lives in the time, like most people in most cases, I have to be very careful because I'm also in the behavioral health space and mental health space. But most people that commit suicide actually commit suicide over things that they have already gone through, right? So you've gone through
Yep.
that whole thing and you've survived it. But the enemy plays with your mind to the point that you take your own life.
Okay.
You've already overcome it. You've survived it. But you, if even if it means, oh, I've lost all my money. Well, guess what? You survived it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So all you just have to do is hold on and take one day at a time. And I promise you that the God that has done it for me will do it for you. Do the same for Obi too. Obi, go ahead.
So, what you just said, towards the end, what was coming into my mind. Um, you said the enemy tries to play, you know, with your mind. And when you asked me that question, when you're in that tunnel, can you see the light? And my question is yes. Now that light is a perspective. Now, do you know what that light is? There is a saying: once there is life, there is hope. So in that moment, when you can wake up and breathe, it's light at the end
That's
of the
right.
tunnel.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I yesterday I was talking with my mom. I'm going through. I'll share the testimony later. I just believe that. I was speaking with my mom and I said to her, "See, there was somebody called Mephibosheth, and one day a man called David stood up out of the blue and said, 'Is there any remaining of the house of Saul that I might show kindness that I promised
Kindness.
my friend Jonathan?'"
Jonathan. Jonathan. Yep.
And then they said, "Yes, but that man doesn't have CV.
He's
He
crippled.
doesn't have qualification. He's a crippled man."
That's right.
He didn't know about this conversation. But guess what? Every other person in the house of Saul have all died and gone. You get that?
Yes.
But this man had life.
Right.
And that life was that hope. And that life was the light at the end of the tunnel. And then David
Amen.
said, "Fetch him."
Fetch
And when
him.
he came, he said, "You will eat from my table until the day you will die."
You know, I heard a
That was how
sermon
he
about
entered the
the
ark.
fetch. Obi, that's a very powerful one. Remember, you said
Yeah.
fetch him. You know, when I heard the word
Yeah.
fetch him, you don't fetch a man. You know, you fetch
Mm-hmm.
water. But
Mm-hmm.
so his state must have been so bad, crippled.
Bad.
He had
Yes.
he had been dropped
Written
so many
off.
times because he was dropped
Yes.
as a child, and that's how he became crippled. That's how he lost his ability to
Yeah.
stand on his own 2 feet. How many of us have been dropped at one point? Dropped in school, dropped out of college, dropped in a relationship, dropped by family, dropped by friends, dropped in the church. Just people just dropping, 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 and they drop you, and sometimes you might not even have the ability to ever stand again. But at the time will come when the fetching of you, regardless of how bad it is, that you'll be able
Mm-hmm.
to come back and stand again. Now,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what Jesus just wrote in again. She says, if your situation is not changing due to the setback, maybe it's an opportunity for you to use that situation to change you. And I totally agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Because if you are not being changed, if your situation is not changing, then it's not about the
Mm-hmm.
situation, it's about you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's about you looking into yourself and you begin to change your own self, basically. Become more self-aware, become more self-in-tuned. You know, sometimes when you go through adversity, you kind of withdraw. And once you withdraw, you go into yourself. I think that's the most powerful place anybody can actually be.
Yeah.
When you spend time by yourself alone and just meditate. Don't I'm not talking about in self pity, wallowing in self pity. I'm talking about
No.
really meditating over the challenges that you're actually facing as a person. What a blessing! What a blessing! What a blessing! What a blessing! Yes,
And
your society, your environment, and your family set the clock of the individual, and the individual unconsciously runs with that time. It's like a woman who,
exactly.
it's like a woman who wants to get married.
Hmm.
You're under pressure because your family said, "When are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? When are you going to get married?" And then you got married nonsense. Totally
Okay,
got married nonsense. Or the
can I
church
tell
will
you
say,
something?
or the church will say, yeah, hold on. The church will say to you, oh, you know, you're a pastor. You can't be by yourself. Go and pick yourself a wife. You gotta select a knife, and then you come back home and you're struggling. Or how about the one that after you now have gotten, you've got to marry someone you love, and you're trying to figure out how you're gonna plan your family, and then all of a sudden your mother is saying to you, oh, and when are you giving me grandchildren? When are you giving me grandchildren? You know, and at the end of the day, the pressure is too much that you end up having a baby before your planned time. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Go ahead, if you're gonna say something.
You know, you know, my elder sister was not the first of my sisters to get married. She was about the last to get married
Wow,
in the family. But guess what? Today she's happily married.
and
You
that's
get
and
that?
that's and that's what counts. That's
Exactly.
that's what really
Now,
counts.
now there's another thing I see,
Mhm.
you know, and I wish people would begin to see that way. Humans can't define failure. I'll tell you why I said that.
Say that again. I
Now,
can't say. What did you just say?
humans can't
Mhm.
define failure.
Okay, human beings. Okay, yeah. Mhm.
Don't let anybody define you as failed.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Because by
Now,
what standard? By
eh,
what standard are they judging?
exactly. Now look at this. In Genesis, God said, "Let us make man in our own image and in our likeness, that he might take dominion." Okay? The Bible said God created the heavens and the earth and then brought man to be in charge. Now, he said, "Even in your mother's belly, I knew you and I called you by name for a purpose." So the only one who could define your failure is he who gave you life to come. And remember, we're like projects. I did project in school. Likewise, every other person who graduated, who did his or her, BSc, that first level, you did project. And then when you're giving your thesis or your project, you worked on it, not your project working on itself. You worked on your project. For we agricultural students, we worked on our project, not our project working on themselves. They don't decide what they do. You decide what you do with your project. How you water them, how you plant them, how you take your analysis, all those things. You did it because they are your project and we are God's project. So He defines when we're not getting it and He knows how to reposition us so that we get what He has desired.
From the beginning of time.
And that's how I see it from the beginning
Maybe
of
we
time.
have 2 more
Yes.
minutes to go. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are here every Sunday. We're going to start coming in on Wednesdays too, so we can get more people in because it's just a 30-minute session. Please go to our YouTube channel. Please go. I beg you. We need more people to subscribe to. Tell your family and friends. We need everybody to come on the YouTube channel as Broken, Not Shattered. Broken, Not Shattered. Please make yourself available and come in. Oh, you have the last word. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. So setback is not the end of life. And like I said, don't let anybody define you. Once there is life, there is hope. So there's the scripture that said, a dead, a living dog is better than a dead lion.
Deadline. Yep.
Mind you, lion is the strongest of all the animals in the forest. But come to think of it, once it is dead, a living dog becomes better than.
Yeah.
So once there is life, there is hope. Just hold
So
on and
so
stay
stay
strong.
alive.
Yeah, stay
Whatever
alive.
happens,
Most
just
importantly.
stay alive.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, stay alive.
So
Thank
nobody
you
who is
guys.
alive has failed.
What did you say?
I said, if you're still alive, you have never failed. Nobody who is
Yes.
alive has
Is a
failed
failure. Is a failure. That's right.
at all.
As long as you are alive, you might fail in certain areas of your life, but you're not a failure. I can
You've not
stand for that.
at
Yep.
all.
And those areas where you think you've actually failed, you end up being someone who can inspire. I tell people if you haven't walked the person's shoes, you haven't walked their shoes, you haven't taken their journey, don't be quick to judge. Don't be
Sadly.
quick to judge. Don't write them off, because you don't know what God has in store for them. The very word that He has spoken cannot come back void. The
Mm-hmm.
very word that God has spoken out can't come back void. So when He comes back,
Yeah.
it's going to come back bountifully. Now the person might have
Yep.
setbacks. I look at a guy like Samson. I look at a guy like Job, men that had setbacks in Scripture, but they always
Mm-hmm.
came back to fulfill their assignment, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So don't be quick to judge him or her when you see her going through her challenges. If you're looking for something better to
Very
do, go to our YouTube channel and join us on YouTube. We're going to take a few minutes out, and then when we come back, we'll have the last word and we're wrapping up for the day. Wow, Obi, we're back and we're about to wrap
wow.
up. It's been a very interesting session. This is the first time. It's amazing. I'm getting all these distractions going on in my own space where I am, but I'm laughing about them because I'm looking at our audience. Our audience has actually increased. We have people from the UK listening. We have people from Nigeria listening. I have someone from South Africa who's
Wow.
listening to us right now. I have someone
Oh,
from and a
wow.
lot of folks from the US. So that's an increase right there. And I want to thank all our audience for actually your support and giving us this few minutes of your day just to listen to what we have. We're gonna start inviting you guys into join in live. So sometimes you might just see your own camera go up,
Yeah.
and then I'll bring you in. And if you have a few words to share with us, shoot us an email, send us something, let us know that we are here to support. We don't have all the stories. We're just obeying what God has asked us to do, create a platform to help the broken. And I called it broken, not shattered. Last
Not
night,
sure.
man, I thought I was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was a very, very terrible day. I know some of my friends are watching, my family is watching, and they're gonna be surprised. Why didn't you tell us about what was going on? I was at work and I started feeling some very tight pains around my chest, and I allowed it to go on for such a long, and I allowed it to go on for such a long time. And then after a while, the whole thing just continued. But it got to a point where I felt like, wow, this pain is severe, very severe, and I had to make sure that at that particular time that I take. Oh, we go ahead and finish this. Hold on, let me do this.
Okay. Put me on the screen. Yeah. Um. So, so sorry for the distraction. It's not always like this. But then we thank God. Um. So I think I had similar experience. I've had cases or situations where I see myself almost thinking death. So I understand that. I've had challenges sometimes. See, this time around, you didn't get what I was saying initially. Do you know I have tested what it feels like to feel suicidal? I don't know if I get that right. To feel like taking your life. So when I see people take their life, or when I see people commit suicide, I clearly understand them. And when I hear people think of that, I clearly understand them because I have been there.
Yeah, you've been to
So
you've
it
been to
takes
the
you
edge.
in there. I've been there, yes.
Been to
And
the
that
edge.
brings me not to easily write people off or be quick to judge people. You might not know what they are passing through. I was sharing with somebody, I said, there is a saying that the world is a global village. It might be small, but there comes a time in a man's life when the world looks so big and empty. That's just it.
Well, thanks, Ruby. Um, you've just touched hit the hammer on the nail, and I think someone who's listening to us will be encouraged. You don't have to give up. Last night, I sat down and I actually wrote down something on my bedside that if anybody came into my room, they would know how I got there. Some friends called me and said, "Oh, they wanted to come and make sure I was fine, I was good." And I said, "No, I didn't want it. I just didn't want it. I just didn't want it. I just wanted to be by myself and just allow this process." I couldn't understand where that pain was coming from. You know, my whole chest was tight, and it went on throughout the night. But at the early hours of this morning, I got up and I did something that I haven't done in a long time. I invoked the power of the Holy Spirit into my room, and I told him that the spirit of healing is with him, and I needed it to operate in what I was about to do. I laid hands on my own chest and I proclaimed the finished work of Jesus Christ over myself. And I said, "This pain has to leave. This pain has to leave." I got a call as early as 6 o'clock, and I was trying to channel my energy towards a different angle at that time, right? And the person that called me just to check on me, and I said to them, "I'm fine. I'm truly fine." And I had to keep on. I wasn't feeling fine, but I had to keep on saying it. By
Speaking
the
it, yeah.
time yes, I had to activate that faith that we have. And by the time I had finished, had my shower, and got dressed, that pain had subsided, totally gone. We all have that same power.
Sure.
You just have to activate it, and you just have to believe. Jesus loves you, man, because I know He loves me too. All right, guys, it's a wrap for us tonight. We'll see you same time tomorrow, or actually, no, same time next week, and hopefully, we'll be in a more relaxed environment where I don't have to get all the knocks on the doors and distractions because I'm in a different environment today. But you know what?
Interesting.
The show must go on.
Of course, and that's the fun
Look,
of it.
I have never had this number of knocks on my door in a given time
It's,
ever. But he said, "You know what?
is that right?
The show must go on." So after you finish knocking,
Is that right?
all glory be to God. To all our audience, I love you guys. See you guys next week. Take care. Peace out.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
all right,
Thank
Obi.
you.
I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. All right.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you.